The Igede people are the third largest ethnic group in Benue State, Nigeria, after the Tiv and Idoma people. With a population of over 250,000 people, the Igede people have a unique cultural festival called the Igede Agba Yam Festival.
Is based on consumption. You pay for what you consume. Why should we continue to pay for darkness?
Organized labor protests electricity tariff increase. Federal government appeals for understanding. Defense Ministry reveals plans to recruit 10,000 additional personnel. And FCT High Court declines former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasiki's request for dismissal of charges. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on NTA Network News. I'm Cyril Stober. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the Buhari administration is committed to transparency and accountability in the handling of resources, including that from the extractive industry. This was while receiving a delegation from the Global Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative led by the former Prime Minister of Sweden, Fredrik Reinfeldt. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Saying that two can only work together when they agree is coming into play as the federal government committed to transparency and the Extractive Industries Transparency International are into discussion of working together towards ensuring that proceeds realized from the industry are better managed for the benefit of the people. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, acting for the president, who is on vacation, welcomed the idea by the global organization to work with the Buhari-led administration. He said Nigerians have learned great lessons and that in going forward, government will work transparently and generate more resources. He explained that government is also working with the National Assembly to get the PIB passed into law. The Vice President also congratulated the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, for being elected as a board member, representing English and Portuguese-speaking member nations at the global level.
Nigeria has always been in the lead. The processes that we have implemented served as the guidance through which the EITI fashions out its own standards. So that is what I'm bringing to the table to the new EITI board.
Former Prime Minister of Sweden, Fredrik Reinfeldt, is the incoming chair of AITI.
I think at a time like this, it's extremely important that we keep a focus on transparency and accountability when it comes to how we handle all of these revenues.
It's a very impressive, ambitious program that this government has set itself, and we hope that the EITI international standard is a process that can help to inform these reforms.
The Vice President also gave audience to a group from the Nigerian Leadership Initiative who are offering to support government in rebuilding the Northeast.
What we have come is to learn more about what the federal government is doing, so that what we are doing is not duplicating what the federal government has as plans, and we want to complement, not supplement, the federal government.
Another delegation is from the National Assembly, who are seeking the backings of the federal government on ongoing projects at the Institute for Legislative Studies.
It is very important that we have an identity, a place that can be referred as the Institute's headquarters.
We are satisfied with the response, and we believe a remarkable progress will be made.
In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Members of the organized labor comprising the Nigeria Labour Congress, their trade union Congress counterparts, and the civil society coalition have rejected the 45% electricity tariff hike, which began on February the 1st. They embarked on a nationwide protest with a call for an immediate withdrawal of the policy or risk shutting down the electricity companies. Emmanuel Ahimiru reports on the march in Abuja.
Motorists along major streets in Abuja metropolis had hectic moments reaching their destination in the early hours of Monday. This was due to the protests along the routes leading to the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company in Wuse Zone 4 and the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, where no officials were on ground to receive them. However, the unions called on the parties involved to obey court order, which directed that the status quo must be maintained.
Billing all over the world is based on consumption. You pay for what you consume. Why should we continue to pay for darkness? Why should we continue to pay where there are no meters? We call on Nigerians from today, they should resist payment of any bill that is based on estimation, that is also based on the current tariff.
If you don't step down this increase in your tariff, we are going to picket you every day. We'll shut the discourse.
While at the National Assembly, the unions told the lawmakers that with the current economic realities, Nigerians cannot afford any increase in electricity tariff, especially when no improvement has been recorded in the power sector. The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, said discussions must start on the matter.
We will always stand for what will ensure the survival of the masses. We are not blind, we are not deaf, we can see the problems. Give us time, we will talk, executive, we will engage with them and ensure that the right is done.
Emmanuel Ahimiru, NTA News.
Well, the protest was also in Lagos. Amechi Pius monitored the march to the Ikeja Electricity Company.
This exercise by the Nigerian Labour Congress and its affiliate members started as early as 7 o'clock in the morning. The vice president of the Congress, who led the protest to the office of the Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company in Lagos, told the media that the increase in electricity tariff is unfortunate and not in the best interest of Nigerians.
The promise made in the MOU signed in 2013, November 1st, is that within 18 months, provision of meter for all consumers. And as we speak to you, action has not been taken in that regard. And they want to be in a hurry to stipulate and enforce outrageous increase. We are saying no to it.
The reality is, from now till tomorrow till next tomorrow, we must continue to insist on what is right and just for the Nigerian people. Our people have suffered for so long.
A representative of the Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company, who addressed the angry crowd, urged Labour and civil society to continue to dialogue with government to find a lasting solution to the problem. While the protest was on in Ikeja, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing was meeting with chief executive officers of the distribution companies and other stakeholders in Ikoyi, Lagos.
The truth is that this tariff, we ought to have been there from day one. And I don't know why the government of yesterday was not courageous enough to tell us this was the price. If you look at that tariff painstakingly, you will see that in about 2 years from now, it will begin to go down a sliding scale. It will get better. And I can only appeal for some understanding and some trust that we do this in the best interest of our country.
In Lagos, Amechi Pius, NTA News.
Well, the president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, was among guests who discussed the electricity tariff increase on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. He said the development is outrageous. Uyeyemi Ajayi has the details.
Despite the Minister of Works, Housing and Power, Babatunde Raji Fashola's assurance that the new tariff regime effective February 1, 2016 is a 10-year running plan, the move appears to be unpopular among Nigerians. On the forefront to voice against the regime is the leadership of the Labour Union, the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC.
2015, there was an increase to 14 naira 16 kobo from 13 naira. But this time around, look at it. It's an increase from 14 naira 16 kobo to almost 65% in some cases. And in fact, in some cases, 100%.
If we continue to sell below the cost price, then the industry will collapse. And we should not forget that where we started from is a very long journey. But now the journey is steady. You heard the minister earlier on in that soundbite. The truth is what you have said, which is.
The NLC president, however, noted that steady supply of electricity and improved electricity services, especially in the availability of meters, are more important before contemplation of any tariff increase. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Into other matters now, the President of the Senate, Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, says the National Assembly will amend the Procurement Act to compel ministries and agencies to patronize made-in-Nigeria products. He stated this while declaring open a 4-day Made-in-Aba trade fair holding in Abuja. Ruben Okala reports.
Made-in-Aba trade fair, which is the third in the series, is aimed at showcasing made-in-Nigeria products. The President of the Senate saluted the ingenuity of the manufacturers, stating that Nigeria has all it takes to be self-sustaining, given the entrepreneurship spirit of the people.
Instead of them going around looking for foreign exchange to buy goods from abroad, can truly support and ensure patronize the made-in-Aba goods.
The initiator of the event, Senator Einaya Abaribe, representing Abia South, says the program is part of his constituency projects.
It behooves on us as a country to now make sure that we look internally.
The Director General of SMIDAN, Alhaji Baturi Masari, and the representative of the Minister of Trade and Investment were full of compliments with the initiator of the program, which they say is part of efforts towards diversifying the economy. Other highlight of the program was presentation of kits to military and paramilitary agencies.
And from what we have seen here so far, it is evident that high-quality products can also be found in Aba and other parts of the country. In Abuja, Ruben Okala, NTA News.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has announced that the National Assembly will soon begin legislative work on its own version of the Petroleum Industry Bill. He was speaking at a meeting with the International Board of Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative and its Nigerian counterpart, NEITI. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The Petroleum Industry Bill is one of the bills that has been in the works from the 5th, 6th and 7th Assemblies. Now in the 8th Assembly, Speaker Yakubu Dogara told a meeting of the International Board of Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative and the Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, NEITI, that in line with the House commitment to work with President Muhammadu Buhari in implementing reforms.
The reform of the petroleum sector is of priority concern to us, and we shall make sure that we get it right this time around.
Nigeria has been really a role model. I also think, being a member of parliament, all these figures that you get throughout this process, it's very important that this is actually used for debate or discussions.
The Speaker also stated that the House will begin the consideration of the NEITI Extractive Industry Audit Report in the first quarter of 2016. Meanwhile, the House Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream has urged the Petroleum Products and Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPPRA, and the Petroleum Equalization Fund to ensure that cases of owing petroleum marketers to a point of causing scarcity of products is checked, like diversion of products and the selling of products above stipulated pump prices.
In the regulated economy, especially the downstream sector, the PPPRA is very, very significant.
If we catch any marketer that is overselling and DPR confirm that is overselling, the next day we do not give him allocation and they will revoke his licenses.
The two agencies are expected to defend their 2016 budget proposal at a later date from the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The Senate Committee on Defense has advised the Defense Ministry to redirect some of its budgetary allocations in 2016 to the rehabilitation of military barracks in view of their present condition. Minister of Defense Mohammed Mansour Ali announced plans to recruit additional 10,000 personnel while defending the 2016 budget proposals of the ministry. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Garba Birnum reports.
Minister of Defense.
The sum of 700 million naira was set aside for barracks rehabilitation in 2016. These members of the committee described as inadequate and advised the ministry to prioritize needs and adjust some of its allocations.
We have so many barracks across the country. All of them are dilapidated, especially the army.
I suggest that the lot we cut down here instead transferred to barrack rehabilitation. I want to remind you that perhaps you need to still look at the cost of the personnel, almost 18 billion. I believe that the TSA may not solve the problem alone. You need to do a little bit more of investigation.
The services, all the three services, have their own contribution to the barracks. The one we are talking is the one is just an additional one from the Ministry of Defense because that barrack rehabilitation has been scrapped. That is why we are thinking also of making additional input to what the three services are doing.
The sum of 35.6 billion naira is the proposed budgetary allocation to the Defense Ministry. The management of the Independent National Electoral Commission also depended the sum of more than 45 billion naira 2016 budgetary allocation to INEC. A sum of 10.09 billion naira was also approved for INEC to conduct rerun elections in 2016.
We do have revenues which are from contract management and political party registration is not much, but it goes directly into the TSA revenue account.
Senators also expressed the need to further amend the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, in line with the sum of the judicial pronouncement due to some electoral cases.
There are so many things that are hearing for reforms that we need to look at. And also, I would say some of these reforms, we need to reach out to the judiciary to carry them along.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Senator Aisha Jummai Al-Hassan, also defended the ministry's 2016 budget at a session with the Senate Committee on Women Affairs. Both the committee members and the ministry agreed on the need for an upward review of the budgetary allocation to women and children.
We want to look at what we can do in 2016 with whatever is given and make sure that we can make tremendous impact on what is given, and then look for ways that by 2017 we can really wish for more.
They have accepted that we rearrange based on priorities and areas that they think we should cut some of the provisions made to cut and tell them areas that we need those savings to be put.
The 2016 budget defense by ministries, departments and agencies continues. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Garba Birnum, NTA News.
And staying in the National Assembly, the House of Representatives Committee on Financial Crimes has assured the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, of its support to ensure the sustenance of the war against corruption. This was at the defense of the 11 billion naira budget proposal by the Ministry of Budget and National Planning for the EFCC. Grace Oyenubi reports on this and other committees.
The acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC,
of Reliable Lives Insurance Scheme, completion of the permanent head office of the Commission.
Committee on Local Content also received the 2016 budget proposals of the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board with a total of 3.5 billion naira. Executive Secretary of the board, Denzel Kentebe, said the 2016 budget has proposed establishment of 3 zonal offices in Kaduna, Lagos and Awka in Anambra State to enable Nigerians feel the benefit of local content. Chairman of the committee, Emmanuel Akon, however, advised the board to have its own permanent structure instead of renting. From the National Assembly, Grace Oyenubi, NTA News.
Funds in the Treasury single account have risen to 2.3 trillion naira, with 98% of ministries, departments and agencies complying with the TSA directive. Leah Katumba Batunde reports that the federal government is taking it a notch higher with a workshop for accountant generals of states to sensitize them to the benefits of the TSA and its operations.
The Treasury single account structure, which was adopted in 2011, has been slightly modified with sub-accounts created, while the Consolidated Revenue Fund remains the TSA main account. This is with a view to making the budgeting process attainable in the midst of scarce resources. The Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, while declaring the workshop open, urged participants to brainstorm on how to improve the revenue base of the country through the TSA so as to block leakages in revenue administration.
Treasury's single account has eliminated opportunities for brokerage and other corrupt practices that previously encouraged agencies to accumulate funds with commercial banks.
So this is a better time for states to key in and to identify with TSA as a project, as a policy.
Skilled manpower and information technology constitute the backbone of the TSA, but capacity building remains the challenge administrators have to tackle headlong. Some states have adopted the TSA system, and the federal government believes it is imperative for all states to come on board, even as it designs a plan peculiar to the Nigerian federating system.
There is no more issuance of what we call warrant or AIE without funds waiting for.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, will continue to provide technical assistance to the Office of the Accountant General to ensure this happens. In Abuja, Leah Katung-Baba today, NTA News.
An FCT High Court has declined an application by former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki to quash the charges filed against him and order his release, having perfected an earlier bail granted him by the court. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewu reports.
Ruling on the application, Justice Yusuf Baba Hussaini said while the court frowns at any being released after perfecting the condition of that bail, Justice Yusuf Baba Hussaini described Dasuki's present detention as coming from a stranger, the DSS, which was not a party to that suit.
His Lordship drew a distinction between the arresting body and the complainant, the prosecution. What His Lordship is saying is that the EFCC is different from the body that is detaining our client, and therefore, technically, EFCC is not in contempt of the order of the court. The description of a stranger suggests that that stranger is an interloper. It has no business in the matter before the court.
The court has said that we are on course, that certainly the trial can go on, that we are not in contempt of court proceedings and the court order.
There is a similar application before the Federal High Court, all meant to secure the former National Security Advisor's release from detention. So now, with all the preliminary issues done with, at least as it concerns the case at the FCT High Court, the 23rd of March has now been set for the commencement of the Dasuki trial. From the FCT High Court, Femi Okewu, NTA News.
For Nigeria to move forward towards the realization of its full potentials, every citizen who occupied or is still occupying a position of responsibility must be accountable. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this at several fora. Messages.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you.
There when yellow led to I do. We were there when hope was restored and joy rekindled. When innovations empowered startups to become blue chips. When our music became the sound of Africa. And our movies created $1 billion industry, we were there. And when tomorrow comes, we will still be here. Because at MTN, we believe Nigeria's future holds even more promise than our past.
Why are you filming, Mommy? To help people stop getting sick. People think it's the ever-changing weather during Harmattan that makes them sick. Actually, it's the germs. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs, including flu.
Dettol, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
As the sun rises over the hills of Abuja, so too dawns a new way of life and exquisite standard of living. Enjoy your own originally designed and quality-built home in the serene and secure environment of Sunrise Hills. Experience this uplifting lifestyle with breathtaking views of the city. Rise above. Sunrise Hills is unlike anything you've ever seen before. A new way of life is dawning in the heart of Nigeria.
Helen! Would you like some water? It's cold, especially for you.
Which era are you living in? We have a fridge.
When everything else in your house is from the present, then why are your toilet cleaning methods from the past? Harpic all-in-one for you. Compared to other toilet cleaners, Harpic removes top stains, kills all germs, and removes bad odors. For a shining clean and fresh toilet.
Wow!
You should also take the Harpic
all-in-one challenge.
Are you aware that the death percentage attributed to Lassa fever cases is currently put at 43.2%, a figure considered very high? Lassa fever, an acute viral illness characterized by high fever, muscle aches, mouth ulcers and bleeding in the skin, is harbored by rats and spread to humans via the urine and droppings of rats. To prevent Lassa fever, avoid any exposure with rodents, rats, as well as food and objects contaminated with rat secretions and excretions. Report all suspected cases of Lassa fever immediately to the nearest healthcare institution. Help prevent Lassa fever. This message is from the federal government of Nigeria.
Ariel claims Nigeria's best stain removal in one wash. We've come to see if it's true.
Many food greasy stains are difficult to remove because they stick to fibers, like glue.
Now I'll show you how a new Ariel with grease cutting technology removes tough food stains better than the competition.
So the claim is true.
Ariel, Nigeria's best stain removal in one wash.
Thanks for staying with us on NTA Network News. The presidential team on reimbursement of state-executed federal roads has begun a verification exercise with successes recorded by the Nigerian Armed Forces in the last 7 months. Ground realities do not show Boko Haram as occupying any of the 27 local government areas in the state. The governor was responding to questions by journalists on arrival at the Maiduguri International Airport after leading a delegation of northern governors for a series of meetings with executives of the Islamic Development Bank in Saudi Arabia. And a more holistic reform in the Nigerian civil service, which will increase the capacity of the workforce, has been initiated by the federal government. The head of service of the Federation, Winifred Ekanemoyoita, made this known at a reception held in her honor in Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday has the details.
That civil servants constitutes the bedrock of the economy is a popular belief that appears to be losing faith in itself. The recent declaration by President Muhammadu Buhari that his faith in the service is unshaken, however, restored the belief and confidence in the system. Building on the change mantra, Mrs. Oyo-Ita at the get-together said, a reformed civil service must symbolize efficiency, productivity, incorruptibility, and citizen-centered.
Financial reforms to improve accountability, to ensure value for money, reforms to do with the personnel structure, performance management system. How do we assess our civil servants?
We need to run a knowledge-based service. So we must do something about ever getting regimental training.
Some civil servants have serious problems, but all they want is somebody to listen to their problem and talk to them. You might not have to see all of them, but you can delegate so that they can move to the right people to talk to them.
The special get-together in honor of the head of civil service of the Federation was put together by her friends and close associates. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
And for more network news now, let's go over to Ademola in our Lagos Network Center. Hello, Ademola.
Thank you, Cyril. Good evening and welcome to Lagos. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has ordered security agencies in Nigeria to compel the attendance of the former Niger Delta militant leader, Government Ekpe Mukpolo, otherwise known as Tompolo, in court. Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Federal High Court reiterated the order in Lagos while ruling on an application challenging the substituted service of criminal charges on him. Vera Chomba, who was in court, has the details.
I'm afraid we do seem to be having some challenges with our Lagos Network Center. We'll try and see if we can re-establish that link. But moving on now, the Nigerian capital market opened with a 2.02% gain to begin the week's trading session after the loss of more than 1.63 trillion naira in January 2016 due to profit-taking and currency volatility. Seun Ogunluyi has details on Business News.
All right, time again to look at developments in the world of business. The Small and Medium Scale Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, in line with its mandate of facilitating and promoting the development of micro, small and medium enterprises in the country, is creating access to market for agri-produce. The head of Information Communication Technology of the agency, Ibrahim Abdul Malik, reiterated this during the launch of the Farmers Online Market in Abuja.
If these two agree, we can link our website, we can create a link whereby people visiting our website can also link the website of the OFOM to be able to access the information there and probably transact business.
Yes, we've been able to fix the technical problem. Thank you for coming back to Lagos. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has ordered security agencies in Nigeria to compel the attendance of the former Niger Delta militant leader, Government Ekpe Mukpolo, otherwise known as Tompolo, in court. Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Federal High Court reiterated the order today in Lagos while ruling on an application challenging the substituted service of criminal charges on him. Vera Chomba, who was in court, has the details.
The former Niger Delta militant leader, Tompolo, is charged alongside former managing director of the NIMASA, Patrick Akpoblokemi, and 8 others. They are facing a 40-count charge bordering on the alleged conversion and theft of 13 billion naira belonging to NIMASA. Counsel to Tompolo Oyetibo at the resumed hearing informed the court that an application challenging the service of charge on his client has been filed on the 27th of January. Tompolo is challenging the substituted service on him based on the defect in the address of service. The prosecutor, Festus Keyamo, however, opposed the application on the ground that Section 96, subsection 2 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act frowns at hearing of such application and therefore cannot be adjourned. Justice Ibrahim Buba urged the council not to waste the time of the court on mere technicalities. Oyetibo, however, argued that his application does not attack the competence of the charge, rather, service of the charge. He told the court that the charge was effected on Agbanu Street instead of Agbamu Street, and therefore urged the court to hold that the service of the charge was not properly effected on Tompolo. Justice Ibrahim Buba dismissed the application and ordered security agencies in Nigeria to ensure that the order of the court for the arrest of Tompolo is carried out to the letter. The judge had, on the 12th of January, granted an order to effect service of summons and criminal charges on the accused. Further hearing continues on the 19th of February. In Lagos, Viera Chunwoba, NTA News.
Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo stressed the need for Nigerians to have genuine fellowship with God in the pursuit of their goals. He made this remark in his lecture on Man in Pursuit of Happiness at the 50th anniversary of Bible Society of Nigeria. Rotimi Oluwagbemi, who covered the event, reports that two former heads of state were also present.
It was a gathering of who is who in the religious circle in Nigeria. The event hall was jam-packed with dignitaries from all walks of life. Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, who delivered the lecture, stated that happiness is influenced internally before it is reflected in the outward appearance. He pointed out that there can be a meaningful success without true fellowship with God.
And no matter your situation and condition, you can be contented, no matter your economic, social, or political situation.
Former head of interim government, Chief Ernest Shonekan, who was the guest of honor, and another former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, commended the efforts of the Bible Society of Nigeria in making the words of God affordable and accessible to Nigerians.
For us as Christians, all these experiences that characterize happiness come from the place of God.
To the 50 years old, you are now full manhood. In fact, you are expected to be able to perform much better than earlier years.
Man cannot pursue and obtain peace without belonging to God.
There was presentation of awards to some deserving Nigerians. The climax of the occasion was the unveiling of the Legacy Bible that contains 5 different Nigerian languages. In Lagos, Rotimi Oluwagbemi, NTA News.
Well, that's our package from Lagos. We now take a break for some messages, after which the news continues from Abuja. Stay with us.
My people, now how person fit take service suicide bomber self? Suicide bomber they always knack heavy cloth, or sometimes anyhow loose cloth when not delicate with the weather at all. They always carry big bag or many load like who they travel. They always tight hand like blow, or even put their hand inside pocket like who called their mama. Sometimes suicide bomber like to tanda alone, they fear. And they know they send waiting they happen around them all. Sometimes then they drive motor fast, fiam. And sometimes now so they go they drive slow, they terrage. If you shadow any kind load where they drop, or messing with kurukere waka when not pure, I beg, me will report and give police or other security agent one time. The security of we country, now everybody handy deal. Nigeria, may we unite against terrorism. If you now see something, may we now say something. Now Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, bring on this message you.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service FIRS calls on all corporate organizations operating in Nigeria to register for the purpose of payment of taxes and obtain a tax identification number TIN. All registered companies must obtain a tax identification number immediately from the nearest FIRS office. You can also collect and return tax registration forms from the Federal Inland Revenue Service Engagement and Enlightenment Tax Teams (FEET) on compliance checks exercise in your area. A company which is yet to commence business after at least 6 months of incorporation must pay a pre-operational levy of 20,000 naira in the first year and 25,000 naira for subsequent years to obtain its tax clearance certificate TCC. Note that filing and payment of VAT and withholding tax returns must be done on or before the 21st day of every month. Register for VAT. File all tax returns as and at when due. Be a responsible corporate citizen of Nigeria. It pays to pay your tax. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Exotic nectar in pineapple, coconut, multi-fruiter and other exotic flavors. The taste will take you there. Chi Exotic Nectar, escape to paradise.
House of Chi.
It's Duracell versus ordinary batteries. Let's dance. When up to 10 ordinary batteries aren't enough, just one Duracell does the job. Duracell lasts longer, up to 10 times longer.
What day is it today, darling?
Superfruit in Ribena is bursting with vitamin C, making every drop all the more precious. Ribena is worth a little extra for your precious one.
It's a happy day!
As the sun rises over the hills of Abuja, so too dawns a new standard of living. Enjoy your own quality-built home in the secure environment of Sunrise Hills. Experience this uplifting lifestyle with breathtaking views of the city. Rise above. Sunrise Hills is unlike anything you've ever seen before. A new way of life is dawning in the heart of Nigeria.
Still on to NTA Network News. The UNAIDS Executive Director, Michelle Sidibe, says having babies born without HIV in Nigeria is one of the legacies the world body hopes to see President Buhari leave behind. The UNAIDS boss is in Nigeria for discussions on how the country can fast-track its response towards ending HIV/AIDS by 2030. Health correspondent Rabi Abdallah has the report.
The visiting UNAIDS Executive Director met with the Director General of the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, Professor John Idoko, and the talking points revolved around the challenges that Nigeria is faced with and what needs to be done for the country to meet the 2030 target of zero AIDS. These include the huge gap in funding, treatment and prevention of mother-to-child transmission of the virus, as UNAIDS data show that 58,000 babies are born with HIV every year in the country, the highest in the world.
We know that when baby is born with HIV and this baby is not put on treatment, he has a 50% chance to die before his second anniversary. South Africa used to have more babies than Nigeria. 70,000 babies born with HIV every year. Now, in less than 4 years, they managed to reduce it to less than 6,000.
VAT, Ghana uses 2% of its VAT to buy drugs. So, there are all these innovative things that, are being talked about. Then you have the private sector. So I think there are opportunities that we need to explore to see how we can, support treatment.
Although current prevalence rate stands at 3%, with 3.2% of its population infected, Nigeria has the second highest number of people living with HIV and AIDS in the world, after South Africa. In Abuja, Rabi Abdallah, NTA News.
And for our next report, we go over to our Benin Network Center with Obehi presenting. Hello, Obehi.
Hello, Cyril. Thank you very much for joining us in Benin. The federal government has been urged to vigorously pursue the realization of the proposed recruitment of 5,000 graduate teachers as it will go a long way in solving the problem of lack of quality teachers in public schools. A federal lawmaker, Sejus Ogu, made the remark at the disbursement of grants for free NECO enrollment to indigent students in Uromi, Edo State. Kelvin Ewonaye has details.
Who represent Esan Southeast and Esan Northeast Federal Constituency, said the move by the federal government is a bold step. He said because government alone cannot do it, private individuals who have the means must complement government efforts. Hence his free annual NECO SSC enrollment scheme for students. 600 students who were successful in the screening exercise received 15,000 naira each, while the 3 best in each of the 2 local government areas got full scholarship throughout their university education.
Although the federal government, the president has said that people they're going to employ, 500,000, and they will send them to schools. I mean, that's good news. But I also hope that whatever happened to the ones that were posted to the rural areas before will not happen to these ones. You know what happened to them? They are posted to the rural areas, they work their transfer back to the cities.
The beneficiaries commended the commitment of the lawmaker towards a better tomorrow for them. The scheme is in its 7th year. In Uromi, Kelvin Ewonaye, NTA News.
Cyril, that's our package from Benin. It's over to you now for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thank you, Obehi. And for happenings on the international scene and the world of sports, stay with us after this break.
The disparity in public service salaries, the challenges of harmonization, and the fight against corruption. This is the focus on Tuesday Live on NTA this week. Tuesday Live, informative, educative, and engaging. Don't be left out. Join us.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words. Run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Does your antiseptic liquid kill the germs that cause flu, diarrhea, typhoid? Dettol does. Dettol provides 10 times more protection versus leading competition. Dettol is the #1 selling antiseptic liquid, proven to protect from up to 100 illness-causing germs. So why take a risk with your loved ones?
Introducing the new Dettol 55-gram soap with the same germ protection and quality at a more affordable price. Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
We love tasty food and drinks, but we know they can stain our teeth. And we don't want people to think our teeth are not healthy. That's why Oral-B Pro Health with Whitening is specially designed to remove everyday stains and still give you that Oral-B all-round protection, leaving you with strong teeth everyone can see.
Smile, smile.
Oral-B Pro Health with Whitening. Healthier, stronger teeth in 1 week. Now with more whitening power.
Why are you filming, Mommy? To help people stop getting sick. People think it's the ever-changing weather during Harmattan that makes them sick. Actually, it's the germs. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs, including flu.
Dettol, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Hope rises as trapped South African gold miners still alive. Plus, storm ravages through England and Wales. These and more on Global Tidbits with Gabriel Odu.
There are new indications that 3 mine workers trapped underground last week are still alive. The rescue workers believe that they have response to tapping sounds they have made. More than 70 mine workers managed to escape underground using an emergency exit. And from Somalia, Somali intelligence officials have released a video showing a passenger being given a laptop believed to have contained a bomb that blew a huge hole into a passenger plane last week. More than 20 people have been arrested in connection with the incident. However, in the United Kingdom, more than 13,000 homes are left without electricity after heavy rains and winds ravaged southwest England and Wales. Rail services have also been disrupted. In Turkey, 2 boats on their way to Greece have capsized, killing at least 35 migrants. Reports say at least 374 migrants have died this year alone, trying to cross into Europe. That's Global Tidbits. Gabriel Udu, NTA News.
Sports now. Nigeria's Kanu Nwankwo listed among world football legends as Nigeria Cricket Federation prepares for possible promotion in the competition in the United Kingdom. Amanzi Marcos reports.
The International Federation of Football History and Statistics have named Kanu Nwankwo in the top 48 legends of football worldwide. The body released the first phase of the list, which includes Brazilian great Pelé and Ronaldo da Lima. Notable Africans on the list include former World Player of the Year George Weah, Roger Milla, Rabah Mejeh, Mohamed Abu Trika, Mahmoud El Khatib, and former Bafana Bafana captain Olu.